Hello and welcome to Caravan Escapades. Hope everybody's keeping safe and well. You could probably tell by the thumbnail that basically we've had a challenging period, to say the least. Few things been going on, so let me start with the tow car. In fact, you've probably been wondering why we haven't kind of put out any fresh new content of trips away, site reviews, all those sorts of things. Basically, the reason is I've not been able to because the tow car's been broken. In fact, the tow car has not been right really since we got back from France. So there's a bit of a story, so buckle in, listen up and let me tell you what happened. So as you know, we had a wonderful time away in France on our 2025 adventures. But not long after getting back, I got the AdBlue level needs topping up on the car. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange because, you know, we filled up just before we went to France. But I topped it up anyway and it didn't clear, it didn't go away. So it's like, okay, right, get this sorted. But Claire, when we're not away with the caravan, Claire uses the Mercedes as the kind of main car for her, and I use the Tesla as my work car. So I didn't think much about it for a couple of weeks, and then Claire said to me, look, you know, you've got to do something about this. The AdBlue light is still on, and we've now got a timer that's come on that says the timer is counting down, and we won't be able to start the car within 500 miles. Okay. So I get it booked into the local Mercedes independent, and they basically tell me, well, it's the level sensor in the AdBlue tank. I thought, okay, that's not too bad. How much is that going to cost me? Well, unfortunately, we can't just replace the sensor. It's integral to the AdBlue tank. So it'll be just over £3,000. Right. So, okay, we get the AdBlue issue sorted out. And then everything's fine for kind of a couple of weeks. I've been travelling quite a bit with work, and then I'm about to leave for China. And Claire phones me up from Audi. This is like 6 hours before I've got to start heading down to Heathrow. The Mercedes won't start. What do you mean the Mercedes won't start? It just won't start. It won't turn over. It won't do anything. So I thought, oh, maybe it's just the battery and the key, that sort of stuff. So I trots down there with the spare key, gets in absolutely nothing. So I have to call out recovery, and I've got no real choice at this time because it's now about 6:30 in the evening. I've got to leave for Heathrow around about midnight, and the only option I had was really to get the car recovered to home and then worry about it while I was away. But at least Claire could use the Tesla. So I go away to China, I come back, and basically I get recommendations of this auto electrician that's going to come round and have a look for me, because the chances are, you know, the battery's good, it's probably some sort of electrical issue why it won't start. So I'm given the details of this auto electrician. I arrange for him to come around and he doesn't turn up. So I get in touch with him again, and he says, oh, I'll be there on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And he messages me about 4:45 and basically says, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to you. My last job overran. And this kind of went on for 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, it wasn't every day because there were certain days he couldn't come because I was working. So by now, I got particularly fed up with this. So I said, oh, sorry, don't bother coming around. So I arranged for recovery down to the local Mercedes independent dealer here in Nottingham. So, in fact, the RAC was really good because I got them to come out first and have a look, and they tried all sorts of everything. And, you know, they put, because one of the things I did think might have gone was the starter motor might have gone, but the RAC guy managed to get power direct to the starter motor and it turned over, and all that sort of stuff. Now, I wait for recovery, I get recovery, so I get recovered to the Mercedes dealer as well. So they phone me up 2 or 3 days later, say, we think we've sorted it, Mr. Brown. So there's problems with the ECU, Mr. Brown, and unfortunately, you're going to have to get that sorted. Right, okay, so we get the ECU sorted and done, and the car's all starting fine. One of the things I did notice, though, while the car was sat out here was that the suspension had started to drop. The Mercedes, the GLS, has got air suspension. It started to drop, but it'd been sat outside here for, you know, for a good 4 or 5 weeks. So I didn't think too much of it. Anyway, so what I did was I took the Tesla down to the garage so I could get there while it was open. Left the Tesla there, picked the Mercedes up, and then I was going to get Claire basically to come with me in the Mercedes to go and pick the Tesla up. So we did that. This is a Friday evening. So I come home in the Mercedes, pick Claire up, and then we head off to the Mercedes garage to pick up the Tesla. All good. Back to the tow car. No. So literally, we probably got about 4 or 5 miles from home on the main dual carriageway. All of a sudden, there's an almighty bang. And to be fair, I thought it had a blowout. No. The airbag at the back had exploded, so it's like no. So we managed, I thought we might as well just carry on to the garage anyway. So we managed to kind of limp it to the garage on its bump stops, so that was quite bumpy and up and down, and Darcy May in the back and feeling every bump and lump. So thankfully one of the girls from Mercedes independent dealer basically was just locking up on a Friday evening when I got there. So I explained the situation, gave her the keys, and she said, look, leave it with us, we'll take a look. So left that, went away, and then something else happened that weekend, but I'll come back to that. And then I get a phone call, basically, Mr. Brown, your airbag has blown. Would you like us to replace just the one, or would you like them done as a pair? And in all honesty, the sensible thing is to have them done as a pair. So I had them done as a pair. So they cracked on with that, and then, so I got a phone call Friday just gone, Mr. Brown, your car is fixed and sorted. So I trundle off there, I get somebody to give me a lift this time, so I haven't got to leave a car there, pick up the Mercedes, and I am pleased to say that the Mercedes is all good, it's all running fine, and I'm really happy with it. So we've got the tow car back. So we can now, I mean, what's the date today? So it is the 14th of November. And as you guys know, we normally go away for Christmas week, but we haven't booked anything yet. I wanted to be sure that Mercedes was working well. So now I know it is. What we'll do is we'll get looking and we'll see what we can book up for that Christmas week so we can go away in a caravan. So that's the car. Obviously work has been very busy, so that's kept me busy for a while as well, and it's been challenging as well. Work has, things have been quite difficult, particularly in the rail industry, and I've had to make some redundancies there as well, which is not always great news. So then I go back to the weekend just after the air suspension had gone pop on the Mercedes. So I'm lying in bed early hours of Saturday morning, and my watch is kind of vibrating and making funny noises at me. Right, so what's that? So I kind of look at it and it says, you're in atrial fibrillation. If you're not under medical attention, seek urgent medical attention. So I kind of didn't think too much of it. Basically, but it kept going off about every hour. So the first thing I did was I tried, on the NHS app to see what I needed to do. The questions didn't quite fit with my symptoms, because when it came out at the end, it says call 999 immediately. Right, okay. So anyway, so I thought I phoned 111, got through to 111, spoke to a lovely couple of people there, particularly a nurse, went through all the symptoms and everything else that have been going on there. And she said, right, if you won't mind heading down to reception at the ED, I'll send in your details over and we'll get you all booked in. Right, okay. So I get down, I must admit, I get down to A&E, and this is kind of probably about 9 o'clock on the Saturday morning. We've obviously had to sort Darcy May out and get her over to her nanny's so they can look after her, do that sort of stuff. Walk in and it says 14 hours wait. I'm like, no, it can't be 14 hours wait. And in all honesty, after I checked in, my gut feeling was, if I'm not seen within an hour, I'm kind of going to get up and go, because I just don't feel like sitting here for 14 hours. However, within 20 minutes, I was called up and basically started to see people. And the service I got from the NHS was absolutely amazing. I got hooked up to machines, I got tablets, got medication, got checks, got scans, got x-rays, all these sorts of stuff. So I do have atrial fibrillation. Now, I'm not 100% sure how serious or not so serious that is. My gut feeling is it isn't that particularly serious, and hopefully it's one of those things you kind of learn to live with. currently I'm on some medication. I think they're beta blockers, but I do have an appointment in January to go to the cardiology unit and have a sit down and a chat with them, probably some more tests, and see or see what we do for the future. Who said caravanning was relaxing and it brings on all these problems? I mean, you guys might be able to tell me about the atrial fibrillation. Is it something I need to be really worried about? Is it going to be life-changing? I kind of feel all right. I have to be honest though, with my watch, it does tell me that I keep going into it. I think I go into atrial fibrillation several times a day, and I just try and kind of calm down and just kind of take it easy. Obviously there's a lifestyle change. I've already started losing weight, so I need to look at really my diet in a bit more detail, and kind of look at exercises and those sorts of stuff and see what I can do to get healthy and fit again. So that's kind of really what's been going on for the last few months. That's why you've not seen any kind of new caravan content where we've been away in the caravan, site tours, all those sorts of stuff. And I'm kind of missing being out in the caravan. I'm really looking forward to getting away in the caravan again. I've only been over to it once in storage as well, and storage is only a mile away. And the only reason I went over there was because it's not been used. I was getting indications to say the battery was getting low. Anyway, so listen guys, I do apologise. There is going to be some new fresh content coming soon. Hopefully you're going to have nice content from us about our Christmas breakaway. But yeah, stick with us guys. We will be back to normal service very soon. Hope you found that vlog useful. It was just a case of I kind of wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on what's been going on and where we're at, and hopefully how things are going to progress. Anyway guys, you take care. I'm sure I'll speak to you before Christmas anyway, but I hope the Christmas preparations are going great, and I really do hope you all have an amazing, wonderful Christmas. You take care, and we shall see you very soon.